book came out, and I'll let people look at it. It's called Your Friend Forever, A. Lincoln. And it's by my friend, person I like and work with, named Charles B. Strozier. And Mr. Strozier lives and works in New York City. He's a teacher, a professor there, and also a full-time practicing psychotherapist who's written about the psychological background of Lincoln. And he wrote about Lincoln approximately 1980 in a best-selling book then, which was called Lincoln's Quest for Union. And now he's written this second book that came out last year. In February, which is last month, books are up for the Lincoln Prize. The first prize, the Lincoln Prize, every February is announced on Lincoln's birthday. And this book was one of 6 finalists. It didn't win, but it was one of 6 finalists this year, February 2017. And in fact, if you go further in the book, I'm throwing modesty aside here. If you go further in the book, I'd like to show my old teacher first. Will you see any name there besides Charles Strozier?
I see that name.
Yes, okay. So, all right. And Mr. Strozier kindly complimented me for help with the research. My late mother didn't live long enough, so I'm gonna impose on you this. And I hope she's listening up there. I first met Wayne Soini in a workshop on historical narrative. Are you listening? See, your classmate, he's my classmate from high school. On a historical narrative, I taught in the summer of 2010. Soini is a man of great intelligence. It also says at the end, I'm skipping some stuff, although this book is in my voice, I could never have pulled it all together without Wayne Soini. It is appropriate to note his role on the title page. Now, why I say that much is that in order to help him at all, I had to do a lot of research about Abraham Lincoln. And I came to know about the books about Abraham Lincoln, and I can talk today about researching and writing about Abraham Lincoln. One strange thing I did, I went out to Springfield, Illinois. And Springfield, Illinois is not where Lincoln was born and raised, but it was where he lived a lot. And he lived there until he went to Washington to be president. And in Springfield, Illinois, to this day, there's a landmark called the Lincoln Railway Depot. Oh. And it's the station where he made his farewell address to the people in Springfield in 1861. He never came back alive to Springfield. It was truly his farewell address. And when he made it, it was in this railroad station that Charles Strozier helped preserve. There was a time in the 1970s and 80s it was old and they thought they would wreck it and build something else. But he managed to make them hold on to it, and then in 2012 they remodeled it, and so if you go to the computer and look at today, Lincoln Railway Station looks like it was built yesterday. It's it's in the shape and the form and everything from 1860, but it's got a surface that's very new brick. The old brick was removed late 2012. I visited this site. I visited Springfield for research, and I went there too, and I found some of the old brick was still around. So show and tell this evening, I'm going to invite you to have in your hands for a time, look at this fragment of brick that is from the railroad station where Lincoln delivered his farewell address. And it's authentic, it's the real artifact from that time. Now, I'm not saying Lincoln touched it, but it was within a few feet when the man delivered that famous speech. So please hold, as long as you like, this artifact of Lincoln from 1861 when he made that farewell address. And that's part of the brick.
What is there to see in Springfield? Is the home still there, or
Yes.
a museum?
Oh, yes. The
Yes.
Lincoln home is still there. And as a matter of fact, if you go to the Lincoln home, has anybody but me visited Springfield, Illinois?
Sure.
If you go to the Lincoln home today, there's a front door, and this is a National Park Service runs it, so it's open to the public. There's tours every day. If you open the door, and the first thing you see is a hallway with a staircase. And the banister is the only part of the house which is original, the same wood and everything. So that the tour guide inevitably says, people who are here would like to touch something that Lincoln actually touched. And don't worry about the rest of the wallpaper and all that. He didn't touch that. He's not, it's all new stuff or reconstructed. But this banister that you, on the staircase, you can touch, and Lincoln did touch, obviously, when he's trying to go upstairs to his bedroom. So that's one thing worth visiting, yes, his house.
And where he was born is there anything there?
Yes, but it's kind of like Plymouth
Kentucky.
Rock. Have we all been to Plymouth Rock?
Yes.
You know that they built a marble, like, I don't know what to call it, a big structure in marble with pillars around.
Yeah.
And they built a big structure with marble with the steps to the log cabin. So I can't, it's kind of an odd combination.
Yeah.
You're walking up steps and pillars and marble, you think, going inside a bank. And inside is this little log cabin where it's reconstruction of the
Yeah.
kind of cabin, size of
Yeah.
cabin that he
Yeah.
the simple cabin that he would live in,
Yeah.
was born in, birthplace. Nearby is the Sinking Springs, the water where his family got water. The reason they set up their house, their cabin there, was because it nearby had the springs, Sinking Springs, which mean it was the water came sort of like a drip waterfall, a little small waterfall, into a whole limestone way down. So you catch the water somehow before it went into the hole. Sinking Springs. But anyway, that's to answer your question. There's other things, and his birthplace exists, his birth site exists. Anyway. What I wanted to mention about collected works of Lincoln, if you ever wondered, I would like to read everything he wrote, all the speeches he made. It exists. There's many volumes in one. All the libraries have them. It costs about $100 if you wanted them at home to have the set. I'm going to give you a bibliography here. And technically, I put down 7 volumes, which is what I have. Technically, it's 9 volumes now because there's an index, which I don't have. I bought it used. and an 8th volume with miscellaneous things they missed when they were publishing this original. So there's 9 volumes for about $100 on Amazon if you ever wanted to get it. But forget paying anything. It's online if you have a computer. If you have somebody who has a computer, you can look up everything that Lincoln ever wrote. In fact, if you wonder whether he wrote anything about Brazil, it's searchable. You could go online to collected works of Lincoln, Brazil, and see, and I'm sure there were 2 or 3 times where he spoke of Brazil, maybe more. And you can get into those letters. Lincoln came to writing very late, but he wrote wonderfully when he finally, better than us.
Yeah.
I'm going to suggest when he was 33 years old, I'll give you it as a quiz question, then I'll give you the real answer because Lincoln gave the answer. What do you think was the core, the essential element of Lincoln's character? What would you say? Lincoln, what was your strength? What was the gem of your character? Give me it in a phrase or something. What would you say?
I think it's honest.
Honesty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were honesty.
Yeah, straightforward, honest.
Straightforward, honest.
Common man.
Common man. that democratic ideal. Yes. Lincoln wrote his best friend in July, on the 4th of July. He had a day off, right? 4th of July, 1842. And among the letters in this volume, and he told his friend, because he had just broken up with Mary Todd. He finally came back together and then he married Mary Todd. So Mary Todd Lincoln and he had children and all that. But he had just broken up with Mary Todd. He's telling his best friend, not, oh my God, I feel so badly, and Mary Todd, and I wish I had her, she's such a wonderful person. None of that. Something else of himself he lost. He's saying this to his best friend, age 33. I must regain my confidence in my own ability to keep my resolves when they are made. In that ability, you know, I once prided myself as the only, or at least the chief gem of my character. That gem I lost. In other words, he pledged himself, he made a promise, he implied certainly marriage to Mary Todd, and then he drew it back. And although that happens all the time, and more these days than then, I suppose, but he couldn't sort of live with himself. He had a breakdown. He had a nervous breakdown over this, because it was important to him, and you all said honesty or common man. If he made a resolution, and he never made resolutions he didn't keep. He made resolutions and kept them, except this one time. And when he didn't, it shattered him. And he's telling his best friend, I must regain my confidence in my own ability to keep my resolves, because he lost that from once. He never again lost that. He resolved something, he did it. Now, and I just want to give you the second thing, so you come here and go with two things that you didn't know. One is about, he said what his core of character was, that was to make resolves and keep them. That's what he said. On March 18th, starting March 18th, every other Saturday, I'm going to be presiding over, taking part in a writers group. It'll be a second writers group. Susan Alexu currently runs one every other week, but in between there's no writers group. So I'm making it happen, and I take part in that. I'm going to be in the every other group. So if anybody's interested in writing, because this is about researching and writing Abraham Lincoln, but this would be just generally writing, whether you write memoir, poetry, poems, or have your own, going to look at you for a French novel, or something, or
Or a novel